Hey, thanks for stopping by. My name is Tyler, and today I have some super exciting news, y'all. So, if you guys have been following my channel for a little bit now, you will know the latest certification I'm studying for is the CKA, or the Certified Kubernetes Administrator. And I actually went ahead and scheduled the exam today. So, I wanted to hop on here and make a quick video about how I'm feeling and how I'm going to spend this kind of block of time I have left to study before I take the exam. So I scheduled my exam for March 30th. This is 2024. If you guys are watching this in the future, let me know if you are. That'd be cool. And it is currently March 8th. So that gives me just over 3 weeks left to study. So I think during that time, I'm mostly going to be doing practice tests. I've I've spent the last like week and a half, 2 weeks going through Mumshad Munambeth, I think that's how you pronounce his name, his Code Cloud course and his practice tests. And from what I've read online, those do a really great job at preparing you for the kinds of questions they're going to ask on the exam. So I've been doing a lot of those. I've been doing pretty well on them. Like today, I got an 88 on one. I got a question wrong because I didn't run my context command. So I entered a whole question in the wrong context, so that's a shame. Could have gotten like a 95, but anyway, I'm going to keep going through those practice tests just to kind of get the reps in of seeing different kinds of questions and being able to kind of quickly identify what the issue is and how to fix it. And along with that, I was actually going to do the Killer SH practice tests as well. I've heard awesome things online about their exams. They're a little bit mixed because evidently the practice questions on those exams are pretty significantly harder than the actual exam. But I've also heard that it does a really good job preparing you for the actual layout of the exam, like what the console looks like and where the questions are at, and probably the wording too. I haven't taken the test, so I don't know. I also haven't done anything with Killer SH yet, so I can't speak on it too much. But last few weeks here, I'm pretty much going to spend them doing lots and lots of practice tests because I need to see as many different scenarios and problems and things to troubleshoot as I can before I sit for this exam. I also want to talk about why I scheduled it for March 30th, because there is a reason. I actually wasn't intending to take this exam this month. I was going to wait until like a little bit into next month or sometime next month. However, when I went on the Linux Foundation's website to look at like how to buy the exam and all that fun stuff, I actually saw a notice that their policy is changing April 1st, and it will make it so at least the CKA, I don't know how many exams this affects, but at least the CKA, instead of being valid for 3 years, starting April 1st, it will only be valid for 2. So I'm kind of like, let's just go for it. If I fail, I have a free retake, good learning experience. But if I pass, I get a whole nother year of being CKA certified. So I'm like, let's do it. So that's kind of how I picked that date there. I am super nervous for this exam. I gotta be honest. Even though I've been doing well on the practice tests and I really feel like I know my way around Kubernetes now, for example, setting up like persistent volumes, persistent volume claims, pretty much anything with like deployments, I'm really good with. Services, I've gotten pretty good with as well. Ingress is a little bit fuzzy. Installing some of the Kubernetes components, I am pretty fuzzy on. I haven't done much with actually setting up kubeadm. I think I did it. I did like one lab on it, so I probably have to go back through that. But for like actual, I guess, cluster architecture questions, I feel pretty good as well. So things like backup and restore etcd, assuming etcd is installed, troubleshooting like the kube API server, the controller manager, the proxy, all of that fun stuff. Pro tip for you guys: when one of those is down, one of the fastest ways to troubleshoot it is to go straight to Well, okay, first of all, if it's CubeADM, do like a quick uh, kubectl describe whatever the pod is named in that architecture, and then depending on the error message, sometimes it's really really quick if you just go straight to the like etc Kubernetes manifest folder and just look through the manifest for that component like super quickly and just make sure the ports are right and all the basic stuff. Like I've seen a practice question where they like misspelled scheduler, so the scheduler was failing. So little things like that. Just wanted to throw that random tip in there, but back on track. For a lot of these questions, I do feel pretty solid. I'm super worried though because all it takes is a new scenario for me, like a new broken thing in a cluster, and I can spend 25 minutes checking what's wrong and really making sure I figured out the correct thing that was wrong. So I'm a little bit worried about seeing like brand new questions. Like I don't have like dumps or anything, but I expect to be at least roughly familiar with some of the troubleshooting scenarios that will be on the actual exam just based off the practice tests I've done. So a little bit worried about that, but even more than that, the thing I am like super nervous about is just like the exam itself, not even the content of the exam because like I said, I feel relatively good about it. The actually taking the exam part because I have read a lot of things online. Granted, these are from like a couple years ago. I haven't seen any posts in 2023 about this certification or really, really bad situations with the certification, but I've seen a lot of posts online that are like, my aliases weren't set up for me, or the console kept crashing, or my copy paste was broken, or just like these really silly things that like they're not supposed to be part of the exam. You're not supposed to be able to set up. You're not supposed to have to set up like aliases in Linux. It's great. It's not hard to do, but little like things like that, I do not at all want to have to deal with. I guess off curriculum troubleshooting because I don't know. It's not what the certification is about, and with the amount of posts I've seen of people needing to do that, it makes me super nervous that like something during my test is not going to quite work correctly. And along with that, things like the environment crashing as a result of like their end not doing what it's supposed to do, that makes me a little bit nervous too, just because once again, I don't need random external issues when I'm trying to take my certification test. I want to walk in there, and the only thing I want to worry about is remembering my Kubernetes architecture and commands and all of that fun stuff. So, a little bit nervous about like the exam itself, and I don't know if it's the quality of the exam. I feel like that's kind of bashing the exam more than I need to, but just off curriculum issues make me a little bit nervous. The last thing I'm I guess a little bit nervous about, I shouldn't be, but taking the test remotely. I have never taken a test that's not in a testing center before because once upon a time I tried to do it for the cloud practitioner, that one right there, and it was horrible. Like I went to start the test and nothing worked, and I ran the compatibility check beforehand and it just did not launch the test. I ran the compatibility check for this one today. It says it should be all good. So I should be all good. And then like for the actual location of the test, obviously I can't take it like in this room because there's so much like stuff everywhere. I mean, I'm sitting next to like a giant what is that called? A dresser. You guys can't see it, but I'm like sitting next to a giant dresser with like stuff on it, and of course they're not gonna like that. And I have stuff on my table, and there's stuff over there, so I can't take it at home. And I was actually thinking I could take it at the office because I scheduled it for a Saturday. And so in theory, as long as like the building's open, I should be able to just go into the office because it's a super small office. There's only like 30 people, I think, that work there. And on Saturday, nobody is going to be there, and I can just sit in a conference room and do it. My only fear with that is what if like a cleaning crew shows up and starts like knocking on the door or something? I know that is such a rare scenario, but I have to think about it because it's a possibility. So, a little bit nervous about kind of everything about the remote testing environment. I'm not a fan. If testing in person was an option, I would 1000% do it because everything is taken care of. Like when you test in person, you show up and they take you to the back and you have a computer in front of you. There's basically a button that you press just like start the test and it just works. And you're in the test and you just take the test. There's nothing else to really worry about. There's no compatibility checks or anything like that. So a little nervous on that end too, but I guess worst case scenario, if I did fail this exam, I do get a free retake, but it doesn't mean that I would take it after the first, which would be unfortunate because I would lose a year of being certified. So we'll see. It's not the end of the world if I fail, but obviously we don't want to fail our tests. So if you guys have any tips for me for the CKA or even just like remote testing environments, drop them in the comments below because I will take anything I can get at this point. But that's pretty much all I had for you guys this week. As always, I appreciate you watching. If you want to kind of follow my journey through the tech world, drop a subscribe. If you all have questions on like the CCNA or the Network Plus or Solutions Architect, drop them in the comments. I love talking to you guys. So that about wraps us up. Once again, I appreciate you guys watching. Look forward to the 30th when I make a video talking about how it went. So I'll catch you guys next time.